Hey guys, my name is Ruth Joseph and this here is my son, Christian. Say hi.
Hi.
I wanted to do this video because I just recently opened up a GoFundMe account in hopes that you guys will help me take this missions trip to Israel. Yes, Israel. And I'll tell you why. See, back in December of 2017, my son Mason, my co-host, decided to leave. But anyways, as I was saying, my son was hospitalized for 7 days. He was diagnosed of pneumonia, adenovirus, and I had absolutely no idea. All I know is prior to that, he had a cold and the cold just lingered on. He was wheezing, couldn't breathe right. And so I took him to the hospital, just like any mother would, of just being concerned. I get to the hospital, I get to an emergency room, and the doctor says, "Oh, mom, don't worry about it. It gets worse before it gets better." That night, I mean, he could not sleep. He was suffering. I know you know the feeling of just not being able to help your child and you're watching them suffer. I couldn't do it any longer. The following day, I decided to take him to the hospital. This time around, it was a lot different. The moment I get to the hospital, all of a sudden, these doctors were rushing left and right. We had the respiratory doctor. All of them were coming in. They're trying to prick him. There's no oxygen. There's no vein. There's no nothing. And I'm just here like, oh my goodness, like what is going on? 24 hours prior to that, why is it that no one didn't realize that he was like literally losing oxygen? I mean, Mason was literally going like, and then his eyes were rolling back. I was just like, no, this is not normal, Maybe 10 minutes into everybody, all this commotion going on, respiratory doctor comes in and says, "Hey, listen, we're gonna have to keep him." I'm thinking, perfect, this is what I wanted because I can't do anything for him at home. Well, not only did they say they need to keep him, they said he needs to go into an ICU. Wait, that means intensive care. Oh, I'm freaking out. I'm thinking my baby's about to die. I don't know what to do. I'm calling my sister, I'm calling my mom, everyone's praying. Like, I was just really at a desperation. There's this 24-year-old little nurse. I call her little nurse because she was really petite. This was probably her first night on the job. She's writing her name on the dry board. And as she's writing her name and she's introducing herself, she's going to be the nurse and blah, blah, blah. 3 other doctors inside of the room just talking amongst themselves. And she is looking at Mason. I am holding Mason as they're getting prepped for Mason to get on these monitors. And so she keeps looking at Mason and she's looking at the dry board. She's looking at Mason, and I guess I felt Mason's head tilt back a little bit, and she saw it and she was just like, no, he needs to go under now. We need to put him in a ventilator. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, like what would and she's not talking to me, she's running to the doctor. Now, I know you nurses out there and doctors, like, you don't have the upper hand, right? Y'all don't have the upper hand. Y'all don't get to give orders, do y'all? This 24-year-old nurse gave 2 doctors orders and told them that they need to put him in that ventilator like right now. I'm looking at her and the doctor's looking at her like, no, let's just see how this works. We're gonna control his oxygen and doctor talk or whatever. And she says, no, he needs to go now. I mean, with the authority that she had, I knew it wasn't her. And so I began to weep, I began to cry. And because I was just like, oh my God, like, could this be you? Like, what is going on with my son? They kicked me out. The doctors were just like, okay, let's do it. And so they put me out and they were just like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and put him under, Mom. Don't be scared. We're just gonna go ahead and put him under. Maybe 10 minutes later, I get back in the room and Mason is completely out of it. Shut down, 3 days in a coma of not like seeing him alive, not seeing him laughing, not seeing him playing. And if anybody knows Mason, knows that this little boy just plays, like he laughs at everything. He's just a really happy baby. And to not see that completely broke me down. It broke me down so much that I literally had a talk with God, and I just said, God, please let him live. Because if you let him live, I will do as you say. I will give you my all. I will surrender my all to you. And I just was begging and pleading with God. And I had my mom and her friends and pastors and everyone just really standing in agreement with me. And just knowing that God is going to keep Mason alive. And guys, let me tell you, 3 days later, after they told me that Mason may get up and he may not know anybody and he's gonna have to go through all of this therapy and blah, blah, blah to get him back. When I tell you in 3 days, he woke up with a vengeance. Like a Hercules, you know? He was taking all the wires out, like everything, the feeding tube, he was taking it out like he was uncontrollable. God has been amazing to me. He truly has been amazing to me. I have always had a heart to serve, and I just feel like because of what he did, this is my way of giving back. It's to go to Israel. I want to see the people of Israel. I want to see God's people. I want to see where everything was done. I want to see what I'm reading. I want it to come to life to me. But you know, having 20 million kids, I can't really afford it right now. But I know that with your help, you will get me there. The trip is costing almost $5,000. It's a 10-day stay. But it's from New York to Israel. However, for me to get from Atlanta to New York, of course, there are costs and travel fees and food and things like that. And so that is why I'm asking for $6,000. I'm gonna leave the link below this video. However you choose to give is all good. Know that God loves you. This is many of my testimonies, many of what encounters I've had with God. I know that God has been blessing you. Sometimes we just need to set ourselves apart and just really see all the blessings that God has given us. He is alive. He is so real, y'all. He is so real. Even if you don't give, but I pray that this testimony blesses you. I pray that it encourages you to share your testimony, because in your testimony there is a blessing. I love you and God bless you.